Hey, what's up everyone, Same Time Gaming here. Welcome back from the Division 2 video. Well guys, I am going to review the new exotic SMG, the Backfire. I've been testing it for quite a while now. I've used it in many different builds, and here's what I found, and this is my result of this SMG. So I would say this SMG is really sweet. I'm using it right now with my Negotia Dilma build, and this is what actually, I feel about it, because the Negotia Dilma build, it spreads the damage around NPCs. You can mark up to 3 targets. Of course, if you don't use the chess piece, if you use the chess piece, you'll mark up to 5. But I was thinking, like, since this SMG do a lot of crit damage, so what if I can increase my crits and then mark up to 3 targets, and I would be able to like melt 3 targets, like clearly it's gonna do a lot of damage, right? So I tried this out, but I was dying, like, yes, I was dying too many times because of the bleed, and I feel this SMG is kind of useless if you use it in a different build than a hazard protection, an armor regen, or the build would actually comes in, like, the armor and kill builds and something like that. So Negotia Dilma build doesn't have any type of survivability. It's basically pure damage. You mark enemies, you shoot them, you kill them, and that's basically it, right? So there's no adrenaline rush going on. There is no nothing. So that's the perfect way to actually test this Backfire SMG. So now what this SMG kind of does, the talents, let me show you. It's called Payment in Kind. Dealing damage to enemies adds a stack of 1% critical hit damage up to 200% critical hit damage lasting 10 seconds. What that means, every time you deal damage, you will gain 1% crit damage, and that will stack up to 200%. So basically, you're going to have 200% critical hit damage just from the SMG. So you don't need crit damage on your build, basically, that's what it says. But then again, you have to keep on dealing the damage, and it only lasts for 10 seconds. If you keep on shooting something, then of course you're going to be getting that damage all the time. It's going to stay there. It's not going to go away. Once you hit 200 stacks, after 10 seconds, the damage doesn't goes away if you keep on shooting, okay? Now, the next part is on reload, apply a 10-second bleed to yourself, which deals 0.5% armor damage per stack. Now, what that basically does is when you have 200 stacks, for example, when you have 200 stacks, you will take 100% armor damage on a period of 10 seconds. So in 10 seconds, 100% of armor damage will be applied on you once you reload your weapon. So the perfect way to test this weapon was to use a build that don't have any sort of heal, okay? No hazard protection, no heal, no adrenaline rush, nothing, okay? So I use my negotiated dilemma build to test this thing out. With this weapon, I'm getting 60 crit chance maxed out, 180% crit damage. So I'm gonna test this thing right now over here on the shooting range. So I'm trying to get as much of like stack going on with the like the crit damage stack. So right now I have 38. So I'm gonna keep on shooting. I have 56. I'm reloading my weapon. Now I'm gonna take the bleed. Look at that, it's taking my armor a little bit. So it's not that much because the crit wasn't that high. So what happens when I reach higher crit? Right now I'm at 98, now 100. So if I bleed now, it's going to be like 50% damage, like armor damage. So it's taking away my armor. So I'm going to actually reach higher crits now. So it's 71, and now look at that bleed. It's taking my damage because there's no way I can heal myself. So if you use this, look at that, I'm dead now. Look at that, I'm dead. Okay, so if you use this SMG without any sort of heal or hazard protection or adrenaline rush or armor on kill or something like that, you will probably end up dying. So that's the only problem with this SMG. Otherwise, this SMG is pretty sweet, does a lot of damage, and the adding stacks kind of thing is kind of okay. But I feel like in PvP, this is not gonna be too good, because unless the PvP players become super tanky somehow, so you can shoot them and gain stack and increase your crit damage, that could work. But if you can't melt those PvP player pretty fast, then you won't be able to have those stacks. And I mean, yeah, I mean, this is good for fighting waves and waves after enemies, basically like, the summit, where the NPC spawns too much, so you can just shoot and hit them and get the stacks, and you're going to increase your crit damage, and you can do a lot of damage by then. But in PvP, I don't know if you can like face tank a player and then you're going to increase. Maybe it will give you at least like 60 stacks, so that will be 60% crit damage or something like that. It's basically like strained, but yeah, it does give you some stacks when you hit it. So if you have about 56 magazine size, so in PvP, if you face tank a player, hit 56 of your magazine round, you will have 56 stacks, like critical hit damage. So by that time, if you could kill the player, then of course your stacks will be gone. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how it's going to perform in PvP, but again, for the testing do requires in PvP. But this weapon is kind of sweet for especially PvE content, but definitely needs a little bit of healing and stuff. So you can't just run around with any crit and DPS build without any sort of healing. Otherwise, you're just going to die every time you reload. That's basically the drawback of this weapon is, but it's okay. It does a lot of damage. So you can pretty much use like hazard protection on your build, and that bleed will just not going to hit you. Or you can go with armor on kill builds, or you can use, adrenaline rush, intimidate combo, which is basically the meta. So adrenaline rush will kind of heal you, like give you that extra armor. And this weapon definitely works with the new gear set, this Hunter's Fury, because you get that armor on kill going on. And if you pair it with Adrenaline Rush, it will, of course, going to keep you alive. And that's basically what I was using most of the time to test this SMG. And I wasn't really dying, and I wasn't really feeling the bleed, although I didn't have any type of hazard protection on my build. But if you use it with any other crit build which doesn't have any type of hazard protection or armor and kill or adrenaline rush, you will probably die because of that bleed hitting you. Otherwise, this SMG is pretty sweet. So the way the SMG is modded, you can see you have 5% crit chance on the scope, 10% stability on the barrel, 5% crit damage on the muzzle, and we have a plus 20 round magazine, which is kind of barred wired. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, it looks like the house from the Division 1. It definitely looks like the house in a way. And when it first came out, like the devs first showed the gameplay of this, I was like literally shouted, "Hey, it's the house!" So yeah, I mean, it does do a lot of damage. It is pretty strong. With a tank build, with all hazard protection build, if you keep on firing, you will get that crits which you're missing on your build, which is pretty sweet. But then if you try and use it on a crit build, and yeah, it's you can't survive with a crit build. So basically use, like I said, any type of hazard protection or armor and kill or adrenaline rush, and you should be fine. Otherwise, you will die. So yeah, that's the review of my of this SMG, and I feel this is going to be pretty sweet in PvE, but I'm not sure about PvP, to be honest. We'll have to test it out when it actually comes out live and I get my hands on it, in the live game. I will do some PvP. I didn't do any PvP about like 8 months, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.